Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to use the Serverless offline plugin to run our function locally. Before installing and using the plugin, I want to talk a little bit about what is a plugin in Serverless. So a plugin is a custom JavaScript code that extends the Serverless framework with new features. So let's say if your organization have a specific workflow, you can just install a pre-written plugin or write one to customize the framework to your own needs. So if you go to Serverless plugin page, you'll see a list of plugins available to you to directly integrate in your application and use them right away. We are going to use some of these in our course, like Serverless Offline, Serverless Prune. We're going to use Domain Manager, Serverless HTTP.env, and maybe a few more of these. You can also create your own custom plugin, and a detailed documentation of how to create your own plugin is available under the documentation section of serverless.com. Just follow the instructions and write your own plugin, and then you can integrate it in your Serverless YAML. Now to use the plugin, Serverless provide few commands that you can use. For example, to list the available plugins, you can use SLS plugin list, enter, and this should give you a list of pre-written plugins available in Serverless repository. We are looking for Serverless offline. Okay, there we go. So Serverless offline emulate the AWS Lambda and API gateway locally. So when you're developing your application, you can use it to test it. Let's clear my screen. Now to install our Serverless offline plugin, I'm going to use Serverless or SLS plugin install -hyphen name and then the name of plugin. You can also use npm install command to install the plugin, but make sure you use it in development mode only. So you have to give --save dev parameter when you're using npm. So our plugin is installed. Let's go back to our code. We need to tell our serverless project to use this plugin. For that, we need to make an entry for our plugin at the root level. So we need to put a plugins attribute and then the plugin we want to use, which is Serverless offline. So we can provide a list of plugins under the plugin section, and the loading order does matter. So make sure if you have the correct order of plugins in the proper sequence so that it doesn't overwrite each other. So the one you want to use should be on top of the other ones. I'm going to save the file, go back to command prompt, and then SLS offline start. So SLS offline start will start all my functions that are present in Serverless YAML file. That's it. So this will start the function and also provide the endpoint. By default, it uses port 3000. So I'm going to copy the endpoint. I'm going to open another command prompt, and let's use the curl command. It's a simple get endpoint, so we can do a curl, press enter, and that's it. We're getting the same response that we had coded in our response. So that's it. We are able to invoke our function locally using Serverless offline plugin.